welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. All right. Well, let's see. I gotta figure out which. I think it's that way is the way out. Okay. Yeah, I got a bunch of garbage and crap here, but whatever. Let's just move out of here. Make sure there are no offensive nasties about. Block that off. Figure out that I need to go this way, to the west, onwards, to the FarLands, and journey onwards. Yeah. I didn't make any more boats, did I? Well, how about I do that now, because, yeah. Okay, anyway. Those made. Get this picked up. And in spite of just having made boats, I'm not going to use them for this little bit of water because it's kind of small. In any event, let's see. Getting on with things. This is the 167th episode for December the 27th, excuse me, of 2018. And the size of the world at this point is 6,149.48 megabytes, getting to be very largish. I know it takes me almost 5 minutes to make a backup copy of it now. So, yeah. And let's see. This is the morning of the 508th Minecraft day since leaving spawn. As we continue traveling westward, headed towards the FarLands of Minecraft in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. Why such an old version? Because the FarLands don't exist in modern versions. Yeah. Anyway, so we move on. In this older version of Minecraft with no hunger bar, no sprinting, and no Enderman and other wonderful features and so on. But in addition to all the things it doesn't have, it does have a lot of really epic beta terrain generation involved. Yes, and I think that is extremely cool. Anyway, as I proceed onwards here, yes, it's been a little while since the last episode, a little lot longer than I really wanted it to be, but stuff and things happen and so on, and yeah, you don't always get to do what you want. But we're working on things. I'm working on... Shut up, cow. Jeez, go away. Jeez. Nobody wants to listen to you. Any hoozle. Yeah, moving onwards to the west here. After having been interrupted by a cow, and now I don't remember quite exactly what I was going to say next. I hate that. Anyway, let's see. Okay, recent questions. Somebody asked, and I don't remember who, because I forgot to make a note of that in my questions file that I have open here. But somebody recently asked why it was that I put down a torch every time I get out of a boat or cross a body of water or something like that. And it's just that the idea of if it should ever become possible for me to release some kind of a web-based map of this world, that those torches would show up along the way and be visible in the aforementioned satellite view. To kind of help mark the path a little bit. Well, that, and of course that there would be beds and whatnot, and so on, scattered every Minecraft day. But, yeah, something like that. I don't know, it's probably not necessarily all that super useful of a thing, but I started doing it quite some time back, and I'm probably going to keep doing it, whether it's worth doing or not, because why not? Okay, so appreciate the question, definitely. Always like having the questions because they help give me stuff to talk about along the walk, because I can't imagine anybody wanting to watch this if it was just a silent show with just somebody walking towards somewhere in Minecraft without any commentary. I think that would probably not be interesting or appealing to very many audience members. I wouldn't watch it. But anyhow, let's see. Okay. Let's see. This is the 27th, and this is the first bit of video I've done in 2 or 3 days, because I took the last couple of days off for the Christmas holidays. I decided, what the heck? It's Christmas, and I was just going to go ahead and take Christmas off, and just like that. So, I did. I spent a lot of time sleeping, and I can also say that I'm going to be doing an inordinate amount of sleeping over the next 3 to 4 weeks or so, at least. I need to. And it's not just about getting rest, but I need to. It's going to get me a lot of rest, but it's more than that. So I'm going to try to have a reasonable pace of videos. Like here on the vlog channel, I want very much for it to be daily, but that really shouldn't take more than about a grand total of 20 minutes to record, edit, render, and upload a video every day. Half an hour tops. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that here on the vlog channel. And then on the game channel, I want to try to have something up, some kind of thing up, at least, say, every other day. And I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm going to try. I will be, as much as I can, doing some kind of video every other day with probably 2, possibly, hopefully 3 Hermitcraft episodes in any given week. But bear in mind that there is oftentimes a difference between what we want and what we get. So, yeah. I'm going to try to do it, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get it done. I will as much as I can, anyway. Well, in the course of my holiday here, I got the opportunity to see a cool movie. One that I hadn't even been aware of. And it turned out to be actually very good. It was funny, plenty of action, and so on. The movie in question is called Into the Spider-Verse. And the very name of it caught my attention right off the get-go, because I've been something of a fan of the Spider-Man comic series ever since I was a kid in the middle 1960s. Noting that Spider-Man originally started in 1963. His first appearance was in 1963 in Amazing Fantasy number 15. Oh, good gravy, I didn't make beds. Oh, for crying out loud. I don't believe this. I ended last episode without making beds. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. All right, come on, come on. I need to pick that back up and then pop this down. Sleep before we get anything seriously hostile spawning around here. And I'm going to throw that away. And I'm going to throw that away again. But there's creepers. They're over there, so I'm going over here. Yeah, I can't believe I ended last episode without making beds. Oh, good grief. Anyway, Into the Spider-Verse. A very good story. And it's not exactly your usual Spider-Man story. You know the usual Spider-Man story. If it starts out at the very beginning of his story, then you have one Peter Parker encountering either a radioactive or genetically modified spider, where he is bitten and gains the legendary powers of Spider-Man, and so on and so forth. This story, well, it's different. It opens up, well, there's a number of things. It's focusing on one Miles Morales, a kid that lives in Brooklyn. And he's got assorted personal issues and whatnot, of course. And he goes off to a place where his uncle had showed him what he could do some painting work. And by painting, I mean with a spray can, graffiti style, and so on. And apparently an abandoned subway tunnel or some stuff like that. While in there, he encounters the genetically modified spider and is bitten by it. Yeah. At some point not long after that, he encounters, well, there is a little bit of something going on. Because he coming out of there, I think it is, when he sees Spider-Man in the middle of a big fight that involves Prowler and the Kingpin. Apparently, Kingpin is using some kind of strange particle accelerator device to try to open up a doorway to alternate universes for the purpose of getting back his wife and kid, who in his universe, in this one universe, had apparently died. And so Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, is doing all kinds of weird stuff to try to get them back. In the doing of this, Spider-Man is trying to stop him because apparently there is a massive problem with trying to open up dimensional doorways and so on, because, well, in this case, connection ends up being made to 5 other universes, other alternate realities. And for a point during the fight, Spider-Man is somehow shoved into the particle accelerator beam, which, just between you and me, I think that would be kind of really hazardous to your health. To be shoved into the beam of a particle accelerator. Yeah. But there is an anomalous event of some kind. It ends up in a power failure. And Spider-Man type individual. Oh, hey, cool. Thumbnail. Yeah. But Spider-Man types from alternate realities end up getting sucked into this reality with Miles Morales. But that happens kind of a little bit later. Because after the Spider-Man shoved into the particle accelerator and whatnot, and I don't know, there's some kind of explosion or something, and the machine is damaged and so on and so forth. And I know I'm butchering the story, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have already seen it, and they know it much better, and they're screaming at the screen and going, "No, it was like this." Oh, come on, give me a break. I've seen it once about 3 or 4 days ago. But the long and the short of it, big fight, big event that ends up drawing alternate universe Spider-Man types into Miles Morales' universe. At the end of the fight, Miles Morales encounters Spider-Man. He runs across him. He's buried in rubble, can't get out from under it, badly injured. And Spider-Man, because of his spider sense, and also Miles Morales, they notice, by way of spider sense, that they are alike. Spider-Man says he'll help him once the situation is over. But in the meantime, there is a majorly important thing going on. He gives him a flash drive that apparently has a program on it that will stop this particle accelerator, because it could do massively horrible bad things like destroy the city or the world or something like that. And Miles gets out of the way, gets hidden, because along comes Kingpin, who proceeds to kill that universe's version of Spider-Man. And of course, that's a huge backlash. Emergency crews come to the site of all the fighting and the disasters, and there was apparently a bunch of explosions and whatnot, and so on. But along the way of all this, Spider-Man is found dead. All of New York goes into mourning and shock. It's a huge disaster and whatnot, because that Spider-Man had been doing his thing in that universe for like 30 or 40 years. He'd been Spider-Man for a long time. And so on. Along the way, there is an encounter with another Spider-Man type, because one of the people that got brought over from the many alternate universes is a Peter B. Parker, who's been Spider-Man for a good long time, and basically there are several Spider-Man types. You've got Peter B. Parker from the universe that he's from, and then you get, let's see, Spider-Man Noir, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he's a black and white version of Spider-Man that in his universe, he's in the 1930s, everything's in black and white, and so on. Then there's Penny Parker, who's a girl that uses a robot spider and apparently has some kind of telepathic link with some other spider-like thing or whatever. And then there's one of the funnier ones, Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham. Which was, that's just too funny for words. Oh boy. Oh boy. Whoops. All right. How about this? Instead of making a elevated sleeping platform, I'll throw a bed down here. Yeah. Leave a torch next to it. And then proceed to dig my way downwards to get off of this mountainside. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And let's see, there's a couple of other Spider-Men that show up, but the one that I found to be my favorite out of the bunch was a person who came from a universe where Peter Parker was not the person who became Spider-Man. Instead, the person bitten by the genetically modified spider was one Gwen Stacy, a person whom Spider-Man fans will recognize as, in the 1960s, early on in the original Spider-Man timeline, she was his girlfriend for a while, Peter Parker's girlfriend. And she was killed in an encounter with the Green Goblin. I believe it was in the early 1970s, issue 121, I think it was, The Death of Gwen Stacy. But in this particular, in the universe that she came from, this Gwen Stacy ended up being the one bitten by the spider, and she became SpiderWoman. And apparently, this has been a thing, by the way, since sometime, I don't know, sometime in the sometime around 2015, I think. And apparently, Spider-Gwen, as she is affectionately known, is something of a very popular character in Marvel. They took a chance on that and brought her back after all these years and followed that timeline, and apparently it's reasonably popular. I think she's pretty cool. But anyway, Miles Morales and all these other Spider-Men, they end up doing a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of funny moments. And the long and the short of it is, without intending to be a whole lot of spoiler, but then again, I figure the whole world has seen the movie long before I did. But anyway, they managed to stop the bad guys and do what is necessary for each of these spider people to return to their original universes, and so on. And over the course of all the stuff that happens, Miles Morales finds the confidence and so on that he needs to go on to become the new Spider-Man in his universe. And it's really pretty good. And from what I have read a little bit of, there may even be a sequel. So that's pretty good. This is an animated movie that's done kind of in a comic book style. It's very good. It's very well done. And there's a lot of funny in it, I'll tell you. But it's definitely cool. And yeah, so that was good. And I'm glad I got the all too rare opportunity to see such a thing. You know, I don't get a chance to see movies very often, especially movies that have only just recently come out. Usually by the time I see a movie, it's something that like anywhere from 6 months to 2 years after it's first come out. But yeah, this was definitely worth seeing. Absolutely. And so if you get an opportunity to see Into the Spider-Verse, then by all means you want to see this, because it's really, really good. Another thing that I've been doing recently is I've been spending a bunch of time reading. Because sometimes you just want to kick back and read a good story. And I got to poking around. One good place to find stories written by pretty much anybody is a website called fanfiction.net. And this is where pretty much anybody can write any story about any characters. And this includes the concept of fan fiction, where you're writing, in fact it mainly focuses on that, the idea of fan fiction where you're writing stories about your favorite fictional characters, whichever ones they might be. And you get to publish those things. I mean, you're not going to be able to get any kind of copyright thing out of them. I mean, you're not going to make any money out of them or anything like that. You're just publishing them because you like the characters and the stories and so on, and you want to write your own, and so on. And a lot of people have written a lot of stories. I've found stories on that site going back as far, that are published as far back as 2008 or even 2007. So there's a lot of stories on there. And after seeing Into the Spider-Verse, I couldn't help it. I had to look at some Spider-Man fan fiction, just for giggles. And I found a good one. Now, without intending any disrespect to anyone who has written stories on fan fiction sites of any kind, no disrespect is intended, because to write something and put it out there, hey, that takes a lot. Because you're putting stuff out there to people to, where people can criticize it, say good things, bad things, nasty things, evil things about it, and so on and so forth. And, you know, writing is an intensely personal thing. And the criticism of that writing is even more personal. Seriously, it is. I know, because I am a sometimes writer. And so without intending any disrespect to people who write on sites like that, I gotta say that, to be perfectly honest, most of the stories are what you would call not the best. I mean, you get things written that you can tell just by reading the first couple of lines that either English is not their first language, or they never paid attention in English class at all, in any way, shape, or form. And, well, let me put it this way. Some things kind of hurt to try to read them. I don't mean anything offensive about it. It's just plain the truth. There are a lot of things out there that when you tried to read them, it kind of hurts your brain. Somebody's got an idea, they want to write the story, they like the character a lot, and they really want to write stories about the characters, so they try, but it comes out being less than amazing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody deserves to write what they want to write, even if it isn't good, because it's their thing, you know, and they like writing it, they like the characters, and so on. But finding the truly amazing, awesome stories is a thing that doesn't happen very often. But I found one. And yes, it's a Spider-Man story. Now, in this particular, and I have to be quick because this episode is, I need to find a place to dig in. An alternate universe in which Spider-Man is Peter Parker and so on, and all this normal stuff goes on. But as it turns out, Peter Parker was not the only one bitten by a genetically modified spider, because the spiders in question were kind of spilled and gotten loose. Oops. Now I need, well, first I need to plug the hole. I need a new pickaxe. I need to finish this. And get those up there. Oh boy. Get this last bed out here. Okay, I have a link to this story in the description. Ultimate SpiderWoman. Change with the light. Because in this particular story, not only does Peter Parker become Spider-Man, but Mary Jane Watson ends up also being bitten by a spider. And she ends up, sometime later, becoming Spider-Woman. And it's an interesting story. And it's a long story, because a lot of these fan fiction stories don't get to be very long. But this one is like, there is, at this point, 100 chapters in this story. And each chapter is long enough to be, well, TV or movies. Each one could be could be an episode by itself. And it's very, very good. So you get a shot to check it out. Do. It's very well worth watching. In the meantime, be sure to stop by at TinFoilChef.com and donate to Child's Play Charity, another extremely worthy thing in this universe, a worthy charity that is worth giving to. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.